Hi dear students, welcome to NSM-LEARNING. This module is for the second semester English Honors students. In this series, we are discussing a poem, Ode to a Nightingale by John Keats. And today we shall start the fourth stanza. So the fourth stanza begins, Away, away, for I'll fly to thee, not charioted by Bacchus and his part, but on the viewless wings of poesy. Though the dull brain perplexes and retards, already with thee, tender is the night, and happily the queen moon is on her throne, clustered around by all her starry face. But here there is no light, save what from heaven is with the breezes blown through barbarous glooms and winding mossy ways. So, in the previous stanzas, we saw that the poet actually wanted to leave the world and he wanted to be a part of the world of the nightingale. And how did he want to transport himself? He sought help from wine because wine has that intoxicating power that can make him completely unaware of this physical world, painful world, and transport him into the happy world of the nightingale. But here we see he drops the idea of taking wine as a means of transporting himself to the imaginary world of the nightingale. He says, Away, away, no, away, away, go away, go away. I don't want your help. Away, away, for I will fly to thee. I will fly to the happy world of the nightingale. I will fly to you. That is, I will fly to the world of the nightingale, not charioted by Bacchus and his birds, so not taking help from wine. Bacchus is the Roman god of wine. So I am not going to travel to the world of the nightingale resorting to Bacchus. That is taking help from wine. Bacchus is the Greek god of wine. So I don't want to transport myself to the world of the nightingale, taking help from Bacchus, that is taking help from wine, nor taking help from his parts. Parts is a couple of leopard which are used to draw the chariot of Bacchus. So the poet drops the idea of taking wine as a means of transporting himself to the imaginary world of the nightingale. So he says, Away, away. No, I don't want to accept that idea anymore. I don't want to take wine. I don't want to drink wine. So he says, Away, away, oh, wine, you go away, fly away. I will fly to thee. I will fly to the nightingale, not charioted by Bacchus and his birds, not taking help from wine, not from the a couple of leopards which are used to draw the chariot of Bacchus. Then how would the poet go? What is the new idea? That is, but on the viewless wings of poesy. He wants to go flying on the viewless wings of poesy. Wings of poesy, that is the wings of imagination. He wants to go to the world of the nightingale by the help of poetic imagination, and of course the wings of imagination, poetic fancy, of course, are invisible. That is why he says, but on the viewless wings of poesy, not charioted by Bacchus and his birds, but on the viewless wings of poesy. So by his poetic power, by his imaginative power, the poet wants to go to the world of the nightingale. Though the dull brain perplexes and retards, already with thee. Of course, I had a problem. Initially, I had problem because uh, the circumstances, the atmosphere in which I am living, it is not favorable. It is a kind of adverse atmosphere for me. So because of the pressure, because of the mishaps that took place in my life, my flow of imagination, that is the power of imagination, it is affected. That is why my brain is returning, it is trembling, right, it is staggering. So he says, my dull brain, though the dull brain perplexes and retards, it becomes perplexes means my brain became confused, and it retards, it hinders, it faces obstacle because I have lost the flow of imagination, that imaginative power. Still, ultimately, I became successful to go there, that is in the world of the Nightingale, by my imaginative power. Of course, I had initial problem, but I overcome the problem and ultimately I reached there. That is why he says that though the dull brain perplexes and retards, already with thee. So these very words indicate that the poet is already with the Nightingale, already with thee. So here we see the poet for the first time enters into the happy world of the Nightingale, and it has been possible by his poetic imagination, by his poetic power. So flying on the wings of viewless wings of poesy, the poet ultimately here in the fourth stanza transports himself to the happy world of the Nightingale. So he says, though the dull brain perplexes and returns, already with thee. Now, from here, he would be discussing the world of the Nightingale, how it is. Tender is the night is young, it is soft, it is not so far advanced, means it is not late night. Understood? It is not the dead of night. Tender is the night is young, it is not far advanced. Tender is the night, and happily means perhaps, the queen moon is on her throne. Probably, the poet imagines, probably the queen moon, that is Diana, the queen moon, that is moon, is on her throne, on her place in the sky. Tender is the night, and happily the queen moon is on her throne, clustered around by all her starry fairies. She is surrounded by all her starry fairies. Other stars which are compared to fairies, they are present. Probably, the poet is not sure why, I will be discussing later on. The poet actually imagines, he guesses that probably the queen moon is in the sky, and she is also accompanied by the number of stars. Queen moon is on a throne. uh, Happily the queen moon is on a throne, clustered around by all her starry face. Starry face here means the stars which are compared to fairies, starry fairies. Queen moon is on her throne, and queen moon is on her throne, clustered around by all her starry face. So there must be light. The entire world might be bright with the light of the stars and the light of the moon, but here there is no light. But in the world of the Nightingale, where recently the poet transported himself, that is in the forest, which is the world of the Nightingale, it is of course in a tree. So there in the deep of forest there is no light, the poet says, but here there is no light save, means except what from heaven is with the breezes blown through barbarous glooms and winding mossy ways. No, it is not totally dark. Sometimes or occasionally it becomes bright with light. What is the light? It comes occasionally, not continuously. When and how? Actually, the world of the nightingale is in the forest. And what happens? How the moonlight enters there? There are the leaves of the tree, and the leaves are placed in this way. One leaf is above another, and in this way the entire way, that is the path through which the moonlight can enter, that is blocked. But when the gentle breeze is blowing, it sometimes actually moves away the leaves, and for a few moment or for a second there becomes a passage, a road, a hollow through which the moonlight enters and make the world of the nightingale dimly lightened. Again the bridge stopped, and again the road is blocked. Again the place become dark. So the poet says, here there is no light. It is almost dark. There is no light except the small or little light, dim light, except what from heaven, what is coming from heaven, that is what comes from sky. When? With the breeze is blown. When the breeze blows, with the breeze is blown through, and how the light comes? Through barbarous gloom. Barbarous means uh, of deep or green or rich vegetation. Because of the rich vegetation, the gloom atmosphere is created there. The place has become gloomy, dark. Why? Because of the green leaves, because of the rich vegetation. So the darkness, the gloominess of the place, it is because of the rich vegetation. And when the breeze, that is the gentle wind, is blowing, sometimes it moves away the leaves and makes a passage, creates a passage, a road through which the light from the sky, that is from the heaven, can enter for a brief moment. So he says that sometime occasionally here moonlight enters through barbarous gloom and winding mossy ways. With winding, that is zigzag. Winding, why? Because the light is coming in this way, because the road is zigzag because of the presence of the leaves. So the moonlight enters through barbarous glooms and winding mossy ways. Mossy ways, why? Because the tree is full of moss, and the passage or the hollow place or the road through which the light enters, there is moss beside. So he says, except that little light which comes from heaven or from sky through barbarous gloom and winding mossy ways, except that very little light, the place is completely dark. So here we see in the fourth stanza, the poet has already transported himself to the world of the nightingale, and here he is has started describing the atmosphere in the world of the nightingale. How is the atmosphere? It is almost completely dark. Little light comes, and from that little light that occasionally enters into the world of the nightingale, the poet imagines that the queen moon may be in the sky with all the starry fairies, with all the other stars, and that he becomes assured when he sees that sometimes occasionally for a brief moment the moonlight enters into the world of the nightingale through barbarous gloom and winding mossy ways. I would like to end this video here. Thank you.